something that I can't do. I'm really feeling like I can't lose. Can't control me. I'm in control of my own fate. It's really like the world's at stake.
What is going on, everybody? How you guys doing? I really appreciate everybody for tuning in right now, tonight, this morning, as I saw in some of in the comments there. We're gonna check out some of y'all's music today. It doesn't have to be anything, like targeted like hard trap or anything like that. I just wanted to hear everybody's music. It will be a plus. I am listening for people's stuff who is more sort of targeted and in tune with the scene, so to speak, because I want to hear what we're working with, because you see all of the and let me know if you guys can hear me. It looks like you guys can hear me. But you see in all these places, in all these corners of the industry, you've got people, it's recognizable things, right? Recognizable brands and movements and people. I wouldn't say movement because with a defined goal. Movement always has a defined goal with defined values. I don't see a lot of that. I see a lot of bandwagoning together of people, and people just flying flags with no real sort of mission, so to speak. But nonetheless, it's more than we have had over here. So I want to know what's going on with us over here and how we can sort of combobulate what we have into something that's greater than each of ourselves, so we can all stand together and kind of go in a certain direction, whatever that may be. But when I think about what I can do, and first of all, I know I just start talking, but how are we all doing? I can read the comments here. How's everybody doing? And once again, thank you guys for, Metal Gear Solid. It's one of my favorites back there. I think this is Guns of the Patriots. Yeah, this is one of my favorites. Definitely one of my favorite Metal Gear Solids. But yeah, how's everybody doing? And thank you all for tuning in. This isn't, I wouldn't call this like a gas or pass. It's not going to be anything so comical like that. I'm really going to be listening. Even in gas or pass, I was listening to everybody's stuff. A lot of people, don't take criticism well, or especially didn't take criticism in the way that I gave it then. So I'm going to be a little relaxed. I'm still going to give very, very critical feedback from a production standpoint. Like I said, just to harken back to Gas or Pass, I don't care what you make. I just want it to be the best of what it is. Does that make sense? So, but to go back to what I was talking about before, I'm doing pretty good, Danny. I'm doing pretty good. The show got good at the beginning. Yeah, man. No, it was Gas or Pass is a lot of fun. It's just you can't give everybody feedback. Not everybody's ready for it, and not everybody knows how to digest it. And when you say certain things to people all over the world, like for instance, I was getting death threats from people who just couldn't take things or didn't understand the comical aspect of it. But even then, or people they would think you're hating on it or talking trash. It's a show. It comes with the territory when if you're putting your stuff out there, and nobody was outright disrespecting your stuff anyway. It was all stuff that at the end of the day we could laugh at, but I always gave everybody knowledge and tools that they could go back to their desks and improve upon, right? So yeah, Benzari, it's really good to see you. I mean, you're always going to be dog to me. You're always going to be dog to me. Janaga, send me your SoundCloud link again because I tried to open it and it was down. It just wasn't working. But when I think of the scene, and I know a lot of people because I've got a lot of messages. Where it's like, yeah, well, I I tried to make a hard trap, back in the day, and it wasn't really this, or I didn't kind of know where to go, and we call it, excuse me, we call it hard trap, right? But I mean, even look at what I've done. I've taken elements of hard trap and moved it in so many different ways, and that's something that we're all gonna have to figure out. I don't want people to feel like, oh, if I'm gonna be a part of this, I have to make trap music or I have to make hard trap, or it's pigeonholing you into this certain thing. It's like I tell a lot of people, it's really interesting to see how we call this thing hard trap, and historically, hard trap is trap music and hard style, right? Uh, And hardstyle is one of the most diverse and versatile genres of music ever. If you, it's sort of like I look at hardstyle like I would look at drum and bass. You look at drum and bass, Noisia. They're one of the most technically just immaculate creators and producers in the world when it comes to electronic dance music, in my opinion. If you're making drum and bass, and they never, they've done a lot of things outside of drum and bass as well, but always have that staple and it sounds like them. But I treat hardstyle in the same way as good hardstyle producers are really good technically, and they're all lovers of music first and foremost. I always can go back to like the Tweakers. Look at the Tweakers in the middle of their song, they'll have this Call of Duty, Russian war dance song or some crazy thing that it goes in some, culturally distinctive and instrumentation path that is, that tells a story. And I get a lot of my inspiration from the time that I used to listen to a lot of hardstyle. I don't listen to a lot of it anymore. I couldn't tell you who's new or anything like that, but it played a big part in sort of shaping how I think about telling a story in music, especially before I started doing vocals on my songs. It was like, oh, how do I make this interesting throughout the duration of 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes without, something like a voice, without something like a hook or a verse or chorus, so to speak. So you would start looking at different structures. And I used to have this book. I lost it in a flood recently, but I had this book of like, it's basically a playbook of all these different types of structures that you could do within a song, whether it be intro 8 bars, build up 8 bars into a break, drop that's 16 bars into a breakdown that's 32 bars, etc. It all is a playbook of so many different formulas that you could that I had sort of observed and then mixed and matched and created so many different new things. Uh, and then even just the songs that you would hear, what was the cultural influence in that? You take, Turkish music. Okay, you've got the Turkish ney as far as instruments. Um, you take a look at, okay, an Armenian duduk. Okay, where's that from? What instruments are in this? Arabian stuff. Okay, if you just drop your finger on a globe or a map and say, boom, okay, I landed on China. What are the instruments here? What are the scales used here? And you can really dive down this rabbit hole. So like I always tell people, I don't really think when I'm making a song, I don't know what the drop is going to be. I don't go into it trying to make something with a specific kind of drop. I go into it trying to make something with a specific kind of cultural influence or certain kind of instrumentation. There's a certain instrument that I want to use to tell a story first and foremost, and the drop sort of formulates from there. Take like Faintest Light. That was I have a Guzeng guitar over here in the corner. You guys can't see it. I'm sure you've seen it on social media. But I did it with that, and the Guzeng is a 21 string Chinese instrument, right? But that was sort of the staple of that. It's a song that's recognizable because of that instrument, right? And I always say the drops are good because of what's around them, what came before it, how it was set up, and then everything that's around it that makes it into this package. So I would never try to focus on making musics that are like predominantly based around the drop, because that stuff, really isn't going to stand the test of time like that. Music is going to stand the test of time. If you can weave musical aspects into your drops and around your drop, that's going to be something in my opinion that it becomes this timeless piece of art. So instead of you've got everybody trying to do the same kind of sound, everybody's making the same basic techno song or whatever trend that comes up, all these songs are just for the here and the now. We're not going to go back to this 50 years from now, 10 years from now and say, oh man, this is, this is crazy, because you're going to have 100 million other songs and 100 million other people who tried to do the same exact thing. It became way oversaturated. People following trends instead of people following themselves. So, but bang. Y'all, if you've met with me before, then you know that we can talk, and we can talk for a long time. But I guess let's hop into it. Let's listen to some songs and see where it takes us. I've got a couple loaded up here, about 15 or 14 or 15, depending on if Janaga sends in another one here. We'll do that. But let's see here. First up here, and let me know if you guys can hear this. Let me know if you guys can hear that. This first one is going to be Benzari Flavors John Doe. Looks like it's a remix from Himacron. I know Himacron's in there in the chat. How you doing, man? It's good to see you. We've already established you're very talented, and you're very sound. Your sound is creative. So I'm excited. Oh, you can't hear that. I'm excited to see how much you've grown since the last time I've gotten the opportunity and the pleasure to hear your work. So let's dive into it. Without further ado, let's listen to some music.
Guns out, ammo, ice out, Rambo. Yo.
I remember this original song, by the way, from Dog.
Oh, don't play, all smoke, John Doe, John Doe, John Doe, John Doe. Yeah. John Doe, John Doe. Oh no, 2 kids, no phones, same P. Loco, he's here. Oh no, John, please, just go. John Doe, John Doe, John Doe, John Doe, John Doe, John Doe. Oh no, loco. Bad shit was a movie, turned to a groupie. Didn't know how I got stuck in this doozy. Prada and Louis, sleeping tight, got so shoe up ratatouille. Out in the in a scam and running around and hiding out pounds. The shorty came asking, I was straight capping. Never imagined this would've happened. Now little shorty acting wild, cause I was fucking on your man. Not my fault, it was the drugs and all the cash between my hands. Instant karma was alarming, I ran out of all them bands. Set him up, he was a bug and he been ghosty ever since. Now little bitch is acting stupid. Tryna pop me on some shit. Oh no. John Doe, John Doe, John Doe. Oh no. Now little bitch is acting stupid. Now little bitch is acting stupid. Tryna pop me on some shit. Ain't no trying, bitch, you crying. Least I came for all your kids. Wish I knew he was a king, I would've did from all that shit. Yeah. I was stuck, keep it a buck. He took his shot, but that bitch mixed. Guns out, ammo, lights out, Rambo. Guns out, tryna pop me on some shit. Guns out, ammo, lights out, Rambo. Guns out.
snare is immaculate. A little too bright, but so on this one, oh my gosh, that was awesome to listen to. Really bass heavy. A lot of the sound design seems to be this like 808 sustain thing. It's really nice. What I want to say is, I love the trap aspect because I remember the original track of this, so it's a really nice A-B in my head because I have that memory. I really like the trap aspect. The drum selection I think is outstanding. Really good drum selection. I really like the build up, and this is sort of like the secret to how Milano and I really kind of got our formula down, because Milano kind of trailblazed the aspect of rapping on a build up, right? And it wasn't just like a Lil Jon thing, fuck the club up, and then it loops and loops. Milano would be doing a verse on the build up, and the build up would be going in the background. And if you're going to do that where people actually have to understand what the vocalist is saying, you have to have a good use of space. So if we listen here,
now little shorty acting wild cause I was fucking on your man. Not my fault, it was the drugs and all the.
If there's going to be a vocal in a section, it needs to be the most important part of the section, period. Or else why is it in there? Unless it's like a chant. A chant or a sound effects is completely different. If we're talking about if there's a main vocal in any section of the song, it needs to be the part. Unless it's like an additive thing where he had the vocal chops in the drop, that's different. And I like how you did that as well in that second drop, where it was sort of around. It was kind of like almost auto-filtered in a way, and sort of had the nice stereo feel to it, but it was sort of in the back, in the upper back, and it almost had this panning. It was really nice. But the way, and it's really, I want a lot of people to take note of the way that Himikron used spacing here and just had the filtered, I don't know if you got it from me, because I know I do this a lot. You had the filtered hardstyle kick. Everything was really created around the vocal, and it allowed the vocal to remain prominent throughout the build-up. And you don't have to go so aggressive on the build-up, too, because the build-up doesn't get aggressive.
Cash between my hands, instant karma was alarm, and I ran out of all them bands. Set him up, he was a bug, and he been ghosty ever since.
The crazy thing is there's not even a riser. Did anybody notice that? There's not even a riser. Usually you have something that's going zzz. So that's really impressive that you were able to do that and it didn't feel out of place. So yeah, that use of space is really important, especially when you're going to use a vocal. The mix is bright, especially on, I'd say that the overall mix is bright. I personally, in my opinion, I'd rather have a darker mix than a brighter mix. Just because I would rather have my ears without that level of fatigue or that level of sharpness. I think that you did a good job on the screeches. The screeches did not pierce my ears, and they weren't really the main focal point. It was really these, like, I don't know if they're 808s. I know we'll call them sustains. These bass sustains were the real sound design focal point, and the screeches were the additive flavor, no pun intended, to the drop aspect. But this bass, in my opinion, it's a little too bright. It's really pointy, and that's by design. I understand that's by design. It's really pointy, a really pointy sustain, but there's a lot of resonance in some of these frequencies that really make you go, eh, It's dope. So at the same time that I'm going, eh, I'm also going, ew, in a good way, like that's nasty, because it is nasty, but I think there's a couple more resonant frequencies that you can tame, and I think that you can really smooth out the top end. And then I like how you have the vocal, it goes over to the left side of the mix and it's dun dun dun. That really kept the vibe in there, so that was nice. That was a nice detail. I noticed it. My only gripe with the drop is that sound right there. That it's dope as fuck. Keep it, don't change it. But like I said, you can smooth out that top end, and there's a couple resonant frequencies in there that can make that a more pleasing result. Nitpicky, of course. A lot of people might not even notice it. But that's what I have to say about that. And I think overall, like the way you're doing the use of spacing is really the highlight of this entire track here. I like that it wasn't just like this screech bonanza, or you had varying sections within the drop, right? It wasn't just the screech sustain. The screech sustain was a quick part of it, and then it went back into your main sound design standpoint. I think that adds to the conversation of what we can do with screeches, while also remaining versatile and qualified within the greater industry as far as our sound design prowess, because that's what I think is gonna, put this whole thing front and center to where it's taken seriously, is if people look at us and they say, I would look at, call it hard trap. These hard trap guys are technically immaculate. These hard trap guys are very, very good at paying attention to detail. Mix downs are always really good. That's what people need to say when they look at us over here, right? It can't just be one guy or two guys here that have, socially acceptable mix downs or tracks or releases and connections and whatever. It's got to be a bunch of people, right? But this is a nice step, and this is a step in the right direction. This is great. Oh no, my little bitch is acting. And that vocal right there, my little bitch is acting stupid. That vocal is way too bright. It's very harsh. A lot harsher than she is in the rest of the track. It changes again right there, and she kind of like goes back to her regular voice. She does sound a little bit more processed on this track, so you definitely did something, maybe, I don't know. But that right there, it's way too loud also. This is at 1 minute and 32 seconds. I was stuck, keep it a fuck, he took his shot, but that bitch mixed. Guns out, ammo, lights out, Rambo. You're adding to the conversation of this, what do we call this? This Jersey beat here, because you have your bass rhythm, boom, 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 but the bass line itself is plays some flourishes in here that adds to that conversation. So once again, that's great, and it adds to the rhythm and the flow of everything. Trying to pop me on some shit. And you didn't overproduce it. You let it do its thing. And you've got the little won't bass. That's nice. It's right down the center. Yeah, that snare. This snare is crazy. Too bright. That snare. That's a trap snare. Also, though, this is the first time I'm hearing this snare in the mix, and it's at the end of the track. So, kind of odd. That snare is ridiculous. Yeah, that was good, man. This is dope. I mean, now it's like the question is here, how do we translate this into an original track, right? How do we translate this into an original track? Because another thing that I don't want to do going forward is have it like, okay, we always go over here to these guys because they make these crazy good remixes, right? I'm going to go to them because this artist has a fucking immaculate personal catalog of music, right? And it's also going to help you as an artist. So, I mean, I haven't been keeping up with you, so I'm just saying, you could have been putting out fucking hella goddamn original music. I don't know. I'm just saying this just as a PSA. I definitely want us to focus on, when we do these remixes, how can we translate this into something that is our shit? You know what I mean? So we don't follow trends of the past. But yeah, this song was dope, man. If we were and speaking in terms of gas or pass, this is fucking gas. So thank you for sending that one in. Isaiah just shit. So I don't know if this is a hate track or what, but let's take a listen to it. I really like this part. I like this part. You can score. This is something you can score to. Definitely time to add something in here. Like a collection of ideas to me. That this track here is like a collection of ideas. My number one gripe with this track is the drums need to be brought up to the standard. And what I mean by that is your drums are a foundational element, and they need to glue everything together. Your drums are a foundational element. They hold everything together. They control everything by holding everything together. Whether that be, an example, how your kick drum is supposed to control your bass through sidechain, right? Or any of your other elements. Like for me, in my projects, everything is sidechained to my kick drum. If it's sidechained, unless it's for some creative reason that's for a very specific section of the track, everything is sidechained to varying degrees to my kick drum, okay? That's just how I like to do things. And then, like for raw kicks, I'll use something like Kickstarter. And in addition, that's not the if I have Kickstarter on there, I'm also sidechaining it to my kick drum as well. So because it needs that layer of control to go with it as well. But your drums are not loud enough, and they're not holding everything together. They're below everything. Everything is louder than it. Take a listen. Hear that kick drum, the boom, 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 like your actual kick drum. It's too soft, right? I think all of the other elements around it have enough distortion on it, so they've got enough of. They're designed well enough where all you need to do is get your drums right, and then once your drums are up to that volume and sound pressure level, then you can bring every other element up to it, and then make sure everything is controlled right with the side chain. And then the song is going to sound far, far more professional, right? Drums are the biggest indicator of, excuse my language, amateur work, right? When your drums are not hitting the way they're supposed to, in correlation with your, the overall style that you're going for, right? And also in the early stages, a lot of it has to do with your drum selection as well, which I don't think is so much a problem here. It's really just the way you're mixing your drums, right? And it's become super apparent here. I like the tuned snare. The tuned snare is great. That holds this holding things together and creating continuity. But that kick drum is just the kick drum is weak. It's weak and it's boring. It's not hitting to me, right? It's not punchy enough. I'd say if anything, actually, it's more punchy than it doesn't have belly to it, right? It's just not hitting right. And it's like I could talk all day about how something is not this or that, but the important part for me here is to give you ways to do this, right? So I don't know if this person's in here or not, but what you can do, this is be good knowledge for anybody, is I'll just give you a plugin idea. Rough Rider. It's free. If you go to Rough Rider VST, Rough Rider is extremely simple to use. I use it on kick drums all the time that I want to beef up. You literally throw it on there and you play around with the sensitivity knob and your threshold knob, and it's really going to make that kick come up in volume. It's going to make it more aggressive, and it's going to give it more life and energy, right? So I think that will help it get up to the volume standard. And there's something that I want to do. I don't know how I'll implement this, but like a quick way that I could help you all that I just had the idea of is I can go into my own projects and I will solo out my drum sections. Like I can go into the Poison, my track Poison, and I can just solo the drums, and we can look at the LUFS meter. We can look at the momentary meters. We can look at all the volume meters, and I can give you guys pointers and say, okay, your drums should, your drum group, your drum bus should be at least this loud for a track like this, like a track like Poison that's hybrid, that's bass music, hybrid trap, hybrid hard trap. That's exactly what Poison is, right? And the cultural influence is Turkish music, right? We've got Turkish violin. It starts with an L. I forget what it's called. Turkish violin in the intro of that. And then we've got a ney in there as well. So, but that's the cultural influence. Just to harken back to what I was talking about before when I said drop your finger on the map and see what, dive into wherever it lands, the history, the culture, the instruments. And, that song, I'm going off on a tangent real quick. Poison is very authentic to the scales and the rhythms of the music that it's inspired from, which is extremely important to pay that homage and respect and keep that authenticity while adding your own flair to it. So I think that song is really special and the numbers reflect it. But back to what I'm saying, that's a way that I could help is by literally just going into my own projects and giving you guys these numbers, which is something that I'll probably do. We'll figure out a place where we can all connect and we can share that sort of nerd shit. So we'll figure that out. But if you guys have anything, please commune in the comments and we'll figure it out, because it's going to be a big part kind of going forward here. Because if we have these targets that we know that, okay, this is my guidepost, basically, okay, my drum bus isn't exactly here, what elements can I work on to get it up to here, right? That's going to be a huge help to people, in my opinion. So that's something that we'll flesh out and we'll talk about. But yeah, the drums here are just not up to standard. And I don't think there's nothing wrong with any of these sections. Now, this section goes on for too long now. We're not adding any more nuance. The brain is really, really sensitive to new things that it's hearing, especially a trained one. And this section begins to just drag on, and I'm starting to think to myself, when is it going to end? right? And that's when you know, like, okay, you have to start developing that third party ear for yourself as a producer to say, okay, it's time for me to end this section or add something new to it, right? Switch it up. This keeps going. And it also doesn't help that the drums, you know, I'm already like imagining how it's going to sound if everything was done, quote unquote, right. So. But as far as a sound design standpoint, I like how you have the that thing that's going with those 16th note pattern that's sort of holding the tonal syncopation of everything. I like the tune snare, and the sustain, the dun dun. That's a good sound. That's a good sound. There's nothing wrong with that sound at all, and it's right down the middle. It does have a little bit of deepening on it. And then that's like my favorite part of the song right there. So, but first of all, I would change it. Take yourself a little bit more seriously and don't call it just shit, because it's not. Is that a I? I just shit? I don't know. It's no. Your name is just covering it. So that's how you spell my name, though. But this isn't shit. So I think that there are things you could do to this to get it right. Another tool before I move on to the next track. Another tool that you can use on this if you're using Ableton is just use the drum bus or the glue compressor. We're going to talk specifically about your kick drum, because the thing is aside from the snares, and I know this is a lot of people, you might have came in here just to listen to people's songs, but I do want to be able to give constructive feedback, and I want to take it, you know, seriously, so people aren't wasting their time by sending stuff in. So we're going to listen to stuff, but I want to make sure that I give time to what I'm hearing, so it actually, you know, pays forward. Now, what was I talking about? I find that aside from the drums that I create, I have what is this? I've got a DFAM over here. I can make all kinds of drum sounds with this, and I've got this Korg kick drum thing. It's an analog device, and it's sort of like, you know, like those small Korg things. I would unplug it here. It's not this one. It's a little bit further back, but this is what is this? This is a Korg Vocal FM2. This thing is dope. I designed a lot of stuff on this, as far as like leads, plucks, a lot of hardstyle stuff in here too. A lot of hard dance stuff you can do with this. This is digital. This is a digital synthesizer. It's not analog. But there's another one back here that is Korg, and you can make kick drums on it. But aside from the drums that I designed myself, I don't find myself, like, if I were to take samples from a pack, I wouldn't do much aside from EQing everything else, like the hi-hats, the snares, cymbals, percussion. I'm really just going to ask myself the question of, does it need low end? If so, how much? If it doesn't, then how much does it not need, right? I'm asking myself that question. I'm saying, is it too dark? Is it too bright of a sound? Okay, I can adjust it. These are all things you should be asking yourself in your design process, right? Because even if it's you're taking a sample, you are designing it by EQing it, saturating it, distorting it. You are designing it. You're making it your own, right? So these are questions that you should ask yourself. But I find that more processing and more thinking is done, for me personally, when I start to work with the kick drum of everything, right? Usually with a snare, I'm either going to tune it up or down. I'm going to EQ it, maybe add some reverb. That's it. When it comes to the kick drum, I'm compressing it. I might be distorting it. I might be like pitching it down so it gets longer, and then making it punchier. I'm doing a lot more. So it's a lot easier to take all the other samples and all your other drum sounds and do whatever with them, but you're always going to give that extra attention, I find, to the kick drum. So because your kick drum has to be right. You can have a shitty snare, a shitty hi-hat. That'll become the jank that makes the song good. But if your kick drum isn't good and your kick and bass relationship isn't good, then the track is not going to be good. It's not going to translate over to people, right? So another tool you could use the glue compressor, and this is the glue compressor in Ableton is super simple. Don't adjust anything. Just throw the glue compressor onto your kick drum, and then just move up the makeup gain. I swear to you, turn soft clipping on and move the makeup gain until it smacks. Now, if you move it too far, it's going to destroy everything, and it's going to sound like a gabber kick. But if you get it just right, it's nice. I think that's a nice dichotomy that to Rough Rider. So yeah, now you have some pathways to kind of play around with your kick drums. And I would say even look at my galleries that you can get. Look at the samples that I'm providing you all in there, and you can even design from that, right? And those samples, they come with headroom, whether it be 6 dB of headroom or 12 dB of headroom. It depends on when I made it, depending on what that headroom actually is. But there's always headroom, so you don't just throw it in there. So you have your own creative discretion. That's why there's headrooms. Like you could throw it in. It's like, yeah, I use the stuff from my packs all the time, right? But it might not sound the way you and I could take the same packs and make our own drum rack with the same exact sounds, and mine's going to sound different from yours because we're going to be doing different things. That's the beauty of it all, right? But let's move on to the next one here. We've got Bass Capture, Tomorrow Becomes Warfare. All right, let's check it out. Okay. My favorite part of the track is this right here.
This is the future.
That boom, tap, I wish you would have capitalized on that rhythm and made that more apparent. Literally, that flow right there is sick. That would add to the conversation of, because you're taking these whatever these sounds are. I don't know. This would be a sick raw trap track. You add one of those types of kicks in there over that with that sort of rhythm, that would be sick. The big gripe of this is the same thing that was wrong with the other track, so to speak. Because wrong is always a subjective thing, but I would say the kick drum needs to come up. The kick drum and your low end extension, right? It sounds like you've got all these harmonics and it's real blasted and zooted, right? but it's not holding it all together. It's not hitting because this sound that's on top of it, that boom, tam, boom, that it's clear as day. It's like sailing. It's flying over everything else in the mix. I want those drums to come up, that 808, and definitely that kick drum. Even if you didn't touch the 808 thing at all, if we get that kick drum right, because even the snare, that snare is just, it's flying over everything in the mix, but your kick drum is failing to deliver the oomph that is required to get this thing to where it needs to be. So the same sort of techniques apply here. You need to, if you're in Ableton, mess around with the drum bus, preferably mess around with the glue compressor, literally just move up that makeup gain. But that's not the only thing that we can do, and we're gonna have to have workshops, right? Because now I'm really glad, like I said, I don't care what you make. Like, you could come in here with a country song and we'll listen to it and be like, yo, dude, your journey, that, you know, that's great. But like I said, I am focusing on people who are trying to participate in our hard scene here. And I want to foster the community and really help people, because when it comes to the production side of things, I believe that's where I can fit in, and that's where I can give back and help everybody grow and help the scene grow. And we don't have shitty music. This is stuff that can be, that has potential. This is stuff that is not bad, right? So that's the exciting part. But what we don't have, I mean, I've been doing this for years, as far as helping people and guiding people, giving feedback and actually talking to the community. But everybody else in this, Gravedigger did a lot of streams as well. He has done some of that, so I got to give him credit there. But he's not so much of a music guy like that to help you when it gets to real technical things. So that's where I can kind of come into play with that. But what we're going to have to do is we're going to have some camps. That's why we call this the Hard City Creator Camp, right? Right now, we're listening to everything. We're feeling it out, seeing what we can do with what we have, and seeing who we have. Once we figure that out, we're going to get all this shit right. Because whether it be in Discord, where we meet once a month, we're gonna figure this out. Like, I don't think you guys understand. People who really want to move forward, and just not even move forward, but move in a way where you're a part of something, with people and a greater cause. We're gonna work together. We're gonna get everybody's music right. Because I'm envisioning something where we sit down, whether it be in Discord, and everybody's sharing their screen. Listen, this is what you need to do. I can show you the technique, and you can implement that technique and practice that technique, right? And it's going to solve your problem here. So, but this kick drum, your drums like that so far, that's the overarching theme of everything, right? Our drums got to get better. That snare and clap is it's flying over everything else, and it's not matching the intensity of your kick drum in 808. I would also say the extension of your low end, right? Check out the Bull Sub Machine from Leslie Braithwaite. Did I get that right? I probably butchered his name. It's a plugin from Safari Pedals. That's really good for low end. Even Cymatic's Diablo, that 3-band EQ on Diablo is, in my opinion, goated. It is phenomenal. It's really hard to talk about all these things and not show you, but that's not what the stream is for. So I've just got to talk about it here, and you've got to do the homework, right? You got to be a student of the game. But I'm giving you gold here. So those two plugins will help with your low end extension, low end harmonics, and really get your low end really sitting right. But what I want to talk about real quick, when I say just throw your glue compressor on your kick drum, and there's videos on that I have on YouTube, man. There's so many resources that I've done. You can't just throw the glue compressor on there, move the makeup gain, and it's going to be fixed. Sometimes you have to shorten that kick. You've got to EQ that kick a certain way. Like there's a certain magic and a certain like finesse when you're working with kick drums, and to get them to sound right, to get them to smack right. There's a certain finesse to it. So it's more than just throwing those simple things on there. That will get the volume right, but there's more to it than that, and it's a little bit difficult for me to explain just with voice. But I really like the pre-drop rhythm on that. Your low end extension needs more delivery, and the kick drums need to come up in the mix. So that is the overall thing. I think I really like the build-ups. I like that you kept everything focused and it kept everything tight within the mix. Didn't try to overproduce, so to speak. There's like, even though there's not really a defining thing in the track as far as sound design that I could pick out and be like, okay, that's that fucking sound, because everything is a little blurred to me, which also kind of contributes to why like the drop just may not be hitting with all of us in here. Because the tune, it just it's flat. Does that make sense? It's very flat, if that makes sense. That's the best way that I can sort of describe the sound. It's very flat, and it starts to blend in with everything else, and it just makes the rest of the track really noisy, if that makes sense. But that can be remedied if that 808 and that kick drum take that focal point, and you add in maybe like some sort of kick that's sort of side chained right, and you do that fucking rhythm that you had in the pre-drop. I'm giving you gold right now. But yeah, that's what I have to say about that. That was Bass Capture. Tomorrow becomes Warfare. It's about to become Warfare at your desk when you're getting this shit up to standard. All right, next we've got Deadgate Trap Anthem. You got .mp3 in the name. It's wild. He's trying to do something. It's easy enough to make some kind of fucking crazy little drop, do your thing, whatever, but it's much harder to navigate this right here. This is where the magic happens. Well done on the musical aspect of this. This has my favorite sort of musical aspect because it was clear and defined. You didn't overproduce it, so to speak, as far as trying to add too many different kind of instruments. You stuck with the heavy brass aspect and really built on that. It was the brass with the choir. You took those two things and you got a good 2 minutes out of it. So very well done with that. What I have to say here, the main thing, one of the things that stood out to me at the very beginning here, when in the first drop, is your syncopation timing. And this is something that a lot of guys have problems with, especially when they're starting out, is they're not getting their timing right. Whereas, and usually it's on vocals where if we have our metronome going, dun, 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 usually they'll have the warping is what I'm talking about. They won't be warping the vocal right. The timing will be off. They'll come in too early or too late, or the rhythm won't be off, or they don't understand different ways to implement rhythm in correlation with the timing of the overall track and the metronome. And in this case, your brass is like, it's just a little wonky, whether that be if you're playing it in by hand, the quantization of it is, and I'm not a fan of quantizing things either, but there is a pocket that you can go for. There's a pocket that you must achieve if you're not going to have things quantized. And you're not achieving that pocket here. Let's listen. Listen specifically to the way the brass is going. So, and it doesn't happen every single time, but there's one or two notes in there where it comes in a little too early. Right now, you're hitting too early. It's like you're playing it a little bit too excited. Slow down, you know? And I really like, I see a lot of my own influence on this where we're changing the drop. We're changing what's happening every 4 bars. So you have this A section and you have this B section, and that keeps it very interesting. So that's like major, like, yes, that's great. Like, if we take like a lot of Say My Name's tracks, it's just that one thing, and it just goes on for the entire 16 bars. There's no switch up to it, right? The only switch up is he'll go into the second drop. He's still using the formula from 15 years ago, where first drop was trap, second drop was straight kick, like, and it's just the same drop, different. Instead, the drums just go bum 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 bum, and then fast forward 4 years after that, we're 15 years back. Now we're 10 years back, and then the bum 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 becomes bum 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 bum. It became a Jersey kick pattern with the same drop. Blah 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 blah. He's still recycling that whole thing, and then it'll do that for the first 8 bars, and then it'll go back to the original drop from the first drop, and that's not going to cut it anymore, right? You've got a similar thing going on here, but in this first drop, you've got these clearly defined A section and a B section where you're flexing more of your sound design, that's important. You're flexing your sound design and you're adding to the conversation of what we can do with this sound. So, bravo on that. That's huge. Now, the other thing that I want you to take a look at is, sometimes in your drop, it's good to play around with, okay, man, my low end is literally going to be an 808. Okay, or my low end is going to come from my synths, my bass sustain from the serum patch, or my low end is going to come from, is just going to be a straight up sine wave, right? And right now I'm getting sine wave vibes, right, from your low end. It just sounds like somebody playing a bass guitar and just hitting the note and letting it ring. There's no harmonics that make it dirtier, right? And I don't know if you're afraid to go down that route because you have the dirty brass playing over it. It'll sound good, but you have to have a certain kind of harmonic. Think about old like trap, like Gucci Mane 808s, Zaytoven, not Zaytoven, Lex Luger. A Lex Luger 808 would do really good here. You'd beef it up really nicely. It's not going to hold up volume wise and sound pressure wise, but you can use that as your initial thing and you can get that thing pumped. So you need to figure out a better low end here. I think personally an 808 would do wonders here. And I don't even think that it doesn't have to even sustain. I think a short 808 where it's like, we really get the drums pumping on this one. Your drums are good. The kick drum is fine. It's more punchy than belly. There's no real body to your kick drum. It's really just punch, and it sounds really boxy. But it's cutting through the mix. It works, especially because your low end, your sub isn't really. It's not it's not doing anything to where it needs to be checked, right? Now, when we change this and you add in a short 808, I'm saying you had this thing going sort of like Turf War, where it's boom, 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 and you really kind of focusing on that trap aspect. I think that's the way to go with this because right now, in my opinion, the low end is dead to me. It just, like I said, it just sounds like a bass guitarist playing, like holding a note. It sounds like the bass that you would use in your breakdown, not on your drop. Doesn't have that aggressiveness that matches the brass that is so aggressive, right? So I think that sort of 808 pattern, that not pattern, but that 808 pathway would do wonders for you here. And adding in the harmonics that's needed. How can you add in harmonics? Golly. We've got Cymatics Vortex, I believe it is. That's a good one. Diablo's gonna get this thing extremely disgusting as well. What's it called? Low Control from Black Salt Audio. There's one more that I've already talked about. Bull Submachine. That's that way. If you decided to go with this same how it is now with your low end, I would just throw Bull Submachine on there and play around with that, and that would do wonders. But then you'd have to remedy your drums to bring that up to the standard that the Submachine is gonna bring that low end up to. So those are some pathways for that. Aside from that, I think the brass is EQ'd fine. It's not too bright, which is good. Yeah, that's all she wrote on that. Other than that, man, as you said, please more. Move on here. This is gonna be something different, I know, from reading the whatchamacallit. Reading the email associated with this. First of all, how we feeling? I'm just kind of like going through this and feel like I'm just talking my head off here. How we doing here? I'm gonna read some of these. Man said it's 7 a.m. Time for work. Gotta clock it in, man. Have a good day, man. Let's see here. Deadgate. Yeah, that was Deadgate. All right. So this is going to be something different. I think this is probably going to be pretty good. This is one of Hemicron's friends, I believe, was convinced to send something in. He said it was going to be different, but let's listen to it as a palate cleanser real quick.
Taken from a place to humanize, taken to a place to identify. Another time, the fate defines the thought of the unknown light. Desire true, desire lie, the signature of truth defined. A little talk, a little fight, just to compare the inner ties.
If he's the one singing this, dope.
Until the feeling has gone to waste. All that I've done is fallen places in a city of federation. Hold me tight in the contemplation, like a fight in the long duration. Take the light in the wrong direction, a little bright with the right deflection. Inner wise for a lost intention, make me sigh in the consternation.
So there's nothing really wrong with this production here at all. It's really encapsulated. It's a nice package here. So there's no notes that I have as far as the production side of this is dope. Now, if this is him singing, he's gonna get better over time. It's not like the best singing to me. It's subjective. but he has this voice and timbre that I think is that as he continues to hone his voice and gets his processing right on his voice, which is processing on his voice, the way he's like mixed in here is already it's already acceptable. It's already good, but there's a lot of like room for growth here that I'm sort of like envisioning, and it's going to be exciting. This is dope. This is dope. It sounds like the beginning to some Netflix series. To be honest with you, you would do well in sync. But yeah, that's Maurice Hoss. Correct me if I said your name wrong, but yeah, send me some more shit, man. But I mean, there's not much that I mean. There's nothing that shoots out at me that's like fix that, work on this. So it's a really safe mix, if that makes any sense. You really played it safe, and it's a different kind of music. It's kind of harder to fuck up. You know, does that make sense? If you're making a dubstep song or some bass track, you can really fuck up because there's, you know, you need a lot more sound pressure. You need a lot more variation. The sound design is a lot more complicated or complex, we'll call it, and this is just a smooth ride. So there's not, you know, it's a safe mix. So yeah, thank you for sending that in. Next, we're gonna take a look at Merked here. I don't even know what this says. Maladroid. Let's check it out. It's already out, but. If you don't do something dope with this, I'm gonna fight you. So this track, the drums are up. Everything is as loud as it needs to be. Obviously, you can even see this in the waveform. I would have went with a different drum beat that kind of got me moving a little bit more. It was nice in the beginning, and then it just was like, okay, maybe a boom, like, you know, kind of get me moving towards not just boom, tap. It got very boom, tap, boom, tap, you know, and this is something that has all the sound design. Everything's right. You have all the ingredients, but you're not really utilizing you've got the Michelin star ingredients, but you're not making the Michelin star dish just yet, right? So I think that's you understanding what sounds you have at your disposal here and understanding how to use them in the way that they're going to be most suited for. So, and it, like I said, my biggest gripe with this was it just was boom. It got real boom, tappy, boom, tappy. And then this fucking second drop, this sound is sick. But it's just too slow. Like the tempo, it's already boom, tap, but now we're going slow, so it's boom, tap. There's no energy, right? It's not really making me want to move. I'm admiring the sound design. I'm like, wow, this dude's got he's got all the right sounds here. They're just not doing what they need to do. You know what I mean? And then I'm gonna talk about my song G Shit. It's a song that doesn't really have a defined musical aspect to it. There's no like melody, like in the music part of it, not in the drops, because there is a that's just hard. But in the song, in the beginning, it's gangsta shit, and I'm playing with that vocal, and I'm making it do a bunch of crazy shit, and it's like, you know, like, ooh, it's sort of like, it reminds me of this. But there's no defining thing. It just sounds like TV static. So now I'm just sitting through your TV static, waiting on whatever's about to fucking happen. It was all right in the first half of this, but you can't do this again. You can't go into the same thing. You could have even just added in a choir. Have the same little static going. You gotta think outside the box. Give me something else, especially in this second half right here that gets me through, because it becomes a slog. All right. So I don't want to be doing this waiting for some shit. You got to keep me interested. And that's why G Shit didn't have another breakdown. It just kept going. It just, once it did that long intro like this song, that's it. I didn't bring that shit back at all. It just fucking kept going. You notice that? Because I knew there was nothing interesting there. You know, there was nothing interesting there that I wanted to reiterate on, so I kept it to the point. All right? And this is dead space. To me, doing this exactly, copy and paste it again, is dead space. So, yeah, but the song is already out, so there's not, you know, like I said, when you have your certain ingredients, play around with different things. Like, don't ever settle on the first idea that you have. Don't settle on it. You might end up going with it, but don't settle on it. Go fuck around a little bit. Go eat some food, come back, and with a fresh mind, listen, and don't even listen to it again. Make another drop with it in the corner of your fucking project. And go all the way to the right of your project, and then just fucking do something else with a different beat. And fuck around with it, and then listen to it, what you had originally, and then, okay, maybe I'm going to go with this that I just did, or maybe I go with what I had, or maybe I go with some kind of combination of what I did and what I have. You never know, right? But like in this one, it was a combination of the slow tempo with the boom tappiness. It just created a formula that didn't make me move ultimately in the end. So, but that's subjective. That's murked, though. Next up, we're going to check out Wild Motherfuckers Fuck It Up. I'm Terrified remix. All right, let's check it out.
fuck it.
I can't speak so much on this style because I don't know what's the norm and I don't know what the pinnacle of the production quality is. Now, I've listened to enough to have a like a quick opinion, and production quality is production quality regardless of the styles, genre, or taste, right? You know, my thing with this, and I understand the long intro. The long intro, we're treating it sort of like house music where you have this long 32 to 64 bar mix in section, right? This intro is here for the purposes of live performance. That's the only reason that I could justify it. But even then, I would still make a 16 bar intro and then I would just mix in accordingly there. It'd be the same thing, you know? But there's a big dance culture, and I mean like physically like moving, dancing, physical thing that is to this techno thing into this house thing, I know for a fact. Or the long intros are justified because it gets you moving, right? Now, my personal opinion, and when it comes to the hard techno, you guys are moving to absolute fucking garbage, right? Because nothing happened here. So this, in the live performance aspect, now you're starting to hear this. This is still sort of, I still got my low cut button on. The low cut is still here. The other track still has the bass going, but this vocal chant is starting to come in. And then I'm turning the bass up on the track here. But my other big gripe with this stuff here that I see from a lot of producers of this style of music is the low end does not change, right? There's no, like, in trap music, and like I said, it's a completely different thing, so it doesn't really matter, but just to kind of give a different perspective on why I think it becomes exhaustive to me is because it's always pumping in your face. There's no contrast, and most of the time, there's no story. There's no story here. There's no story to this at all. It's just doom, 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 doom. And that's really my biggest gripe with this. I tell Gravedigger this all the time. Where the fuck is the story at? You know? What am I listening to? Am I just listening to it to fucking just kick my feet around and look like a fucking idiot doing my gabber kicks? Like, are we listening to it, or are we just, is this like Zumba? You know what I mean? Is this just Zumba, just like cardio, basically, at this point? Where's the story at? There's not, but back to the low end aspect, the low end doesn't change. His kick drum low end, it's the same. It's the same low end kick as in when your drop is supposed to come in. You had this long little breakdown just to bring in the same exact low end. The only thing different is you added in the screech pattern now. It's the same kick, the same low end, and you're not the only producer that does this on this style of music. Most of them do. And I'm like, where the fuck is the low end at? You know, and really I know, like, Gravedigger told me, like, most of the kicks, they're meant to be really punchy. Now, Gravedigger uses a lot of, like, the gated stuff, which is dope. And he understands more of what I'm talking about because he comes from another side of music. So we can sort of appreciate each other and see eye to eye on some of those aspects there. But the low end didn't change at all. So now you're giving me the same exact thing. I don't want the same thing for 6 minutes. You know? Like, this is the... I just fucking clicked randomly through this entire fucking thing, and it's the same goddamn kick. And that's my big gripe with it. I'm going to show you guys a song, okay? I'm going to show you guys a song, okay? Let's see here. You guys are going to hear this VIP between Gravedigger and I, okay? It's a song that you might know that we retrofitted it to sound different, to sound in Gravedigger's style now, and, you know, we changed it basically into a hard techno track, right? And you'll be able to tell when my part comes in because I'm trying to add to the conversation, first of all, of what hard techno is and what it can be. And this is actually a song that Vladimir, I'm going to say his last name wrong, Vladimir Kachmar, normalize, help me out on how to pronounce that. But Vlad played this song out. He fucking loves it, but I call him a pussy because he didn't play the second part of it. He hit the hot cue and looped back to the first part of it. So I was like, the second part is when it starts to actually add to the conversation of what you guys are fucking doing. It doesn't just remain the same, and there's actually low end in it. You know what I mean? So I want you guys to hear this. I did the second drop. Gravedigger did the first drop. The song is great. I don't care if you guys get to hear it right now. I think it's dope. Check it out. Right, and Marvel, you make a good point where you say I would listen to a fire hard trap pattern for 6 minutes. Right, and I'm sure, and there are the diehards out there who would say the same thing about what we just heard, right? So to each their own, but I think that we can all agree that it is the same thing, right? And sure, have one or two songs that do the same thing, but at some point, don't you want to make your stamp on it and add to the conversation of of the culture of the scene, right? That's the crux of it. But check it out, y'all. I think the song is playing. You should be able to hear it. Okay, cool. You guys can hear it. But check it out. Oh fuck. This isn't it. This is the original. Listen to the original then first, all right? So basically, Gravedigger is not on this. I did this. I took his drops out of this because this is going to be the VIP. You guys have already heard this before if you're an OG, if you know, but go ahead and listen to it. I'll find the new one.
Let's go. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, the sound design is dope. I think the mix down is dated now. So I could definitely, I don't even think I could go back in and actually salvage that and bring it up to par because I had a different computer back when we made this. It was in 2022. But listen to the revamp here, okay? Listen to how we take this original idea and he and I weave this into something more, modern and up to where he's at now. And I'm the odd man out on this, but I am doing my best to add to the conversation and bring something that is of standard or exceeding of the standard that they have over there, right? Or else why do it? Why present it? So check it out and then you guys let me know how we feel about it. I think it's really good. Here we go. Yo, Merc, thank you for the fucking $10 donation, bro. Oh, you said you're in the bathroom? Real one, man. Real one. already noticed it's faster. But you see, it's not the same thing. I forced him. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
We the realest in the game. Realest in the motherfucker, we the realest. Give me something real, give me something real, give me.
I just got one thing to say.
So, I did the second drop. I did that whole second half there. So you got the trap fake out, blah, 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 blah. And you can see how it plays live in Vlad's video. He actually ended up posting it. It went off. It was fucking dope. But the second half of that drop where it goes, dun, this real tribal, that'll get you motherfuckers moving in a different way than you thought you could, right? But it still kind of conforms to everything right there. But I think the big difference is the low end, right? Whereas in the first half, the kick drums, generally speaking, of hard techno are really punchy and really boxy, in my opinion. Mine just had a lot of belly. I'm not saying it's better or it's worse or anything. It's just different, right? It's a different aspect. It's a different thing that you could do, that people could do. So we're not hearing the same shit from every single fucking person who's in that scene doing the same exact fucking thing, right? So, and there are people who do immaculate breakdowns and stuff like that. But most of the time on these drops, aside from your cardinal people in the scene, it's pretty much the same exact thing, right? So with that, I tried to add to the conversation. And also I forced Gravedigger to not do your crazy long 64 bar intro we took from the original track. I already had an intro that we went from. So it's really sort of like it's an experimental statement piece of a bunch of different things. And I think Gravedigger, I know he had a fun time doing this, and it really brought him back to his roots from the other side of where he came from, because he got to do a lot of things and play around. Will this song ever see the light of day? I don't know. But now you guys, at least you guys have all heard it, right? So, but yeah, adding to, that's what I mean when I say add to the conversation, right? So yeah, fun little tangent there. Let's see, how many more do we have? 1, 2, 3. What is this? Oh, this is actually, dog. I thought you're not dog anymore. We'll listen to 3 more. All right. So right now we've got a Saggy Barracuda. Run it. Fantastic story. That was fantastic. That was fantastic. And you know why it was fantastic? Because it had a story. All right? Say what you want about the drops, your style or not, but it was something that you could click anywhere in the track and it's going to be doing something. It's going to be telling you something. Let's go to the beginning. Oh, it's one of those that are going to... We have this. I'm here. It's got a theme that it sticks to, and it continues to expand upon itself. This was dope. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think that it could be a little bit louder. The mixdown is a little quiet. You have all the right sounds. You have all the right sounds. If anything, it just can be a little louder in the drop section. You could have a little bit more sound pressure. I think things just need to kind of come up a little bit. But aside from that, there's nothing. There was no design choices or like production, like mixing choices that were detrimental to the track. If it's not loud enough, that's not. I don't really give a fuck because it didn't sound bad. You know what I mean? Now you're not gonna be like I'm playing this out because it's not gonna conform to the standard of everything else that you have in your set list, right? It's gonna be a clear drop of energy. But just for listening purposes, that was good. And he told a story, right? And he literally told the story because it had the fucking vocal in there. Let's listen to the intro again.
An old legend tells the story of a bird. It rose through its ashes.
This is a great voice.
As it once died, so it was reborn.
God, dog, dude, the voice is hard.
Ready to fly in the skies once more.
You're doing everything right. It's just not loud enough. And then why does the song go in mono right there? It does that a second time later on in the track, but the entire thing goes mono. It's kind of weird. All the right sounds. It just needs to. It even hits right. It's just not loud enough. Like how loud is it? -6, -8. You got an average of -7.2 LUFS. Right here, you're at -6. -6.8. -5, okay. So, like I said, it's not awful. There's nothing bad about it. I'm just like, maybe because it's just my trap ears are kind of still on. So, but this was great. This is great to listen to. It's very soundtracky. I love that. So, and like I said, there's I don't have any notes production wise. You did. Everything was great. Aside from that weird, like the song goes in mono. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, why did you do that? Why did the whole thing go in mono? And a vocal didn't like take its place to like take precedent. Nothing happened. It just went in mono for like no reason. What was the design decision behind, like choice? What was the thought process behind that? I would be interested to know. But yeah, that was a Saggy Barracuda. Very good. I mean, honestly, that's the best story of the night. You know, and when I say that's like the best story, he or she, whatever, told the story in the best way that I think we've heard tonight, right? Because we're not going to discount somebody's story that they might be trying to tell on a track or through a certain piece of art, but the way that you execute it is what's going to overall make that translation to the listener. In the case of this being a sound-based art format here, the way it was executed was very good. So thank you for that. All right, next up we've got Gorino, Evil Duck. Whack, whack. No, this track is out. What's up with the fucking 4? This must be something good. Look at all these comments.
2, 1.
Sounds like a goddamn evil duck. Where my royalties at? The low end is on point. The drums are on point. It didn't make me move, but you have everything is there. So now the only thing is it's just my subjectivity. It wasn't making me move, but the sound design is on point. The drums are on point, and I'm literally in it. How could I not like it? That's my voice on the pre-drop. Where are my royalties?
5, 4, 3, 2.
Is this a retaliation track?
1.
Sounds like a goddamn evil duck. This part was good. Sounds like a bump, 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 bump. It's kind of, it's like, okay, it's in the pocket. That was in the pocket. This rhythm was far better than this. This was. You should have said, and then bring in another sound. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Like, you got to kind of think about that. Literally, just when I'm thinking of drops, I go, I do shit with your mouth, and figure out what's going to facilitate movement in your body, in your soul, This was just really just, you got the good sounds. And then here, I'm like, okay, you see me like that. I'm feeling it now. This was dope, man. There's no mixed down problems with this at all. It sounds good. You got all the right ingredients, man. Yeah, I feel like this is a retaliation track, and when I said it sounds like an evil duck, that must have been from an old gas or pass where I was like shitting on your track or something, and you just took this to heart, and obviously you won. Look at it. You fucking won. The evil duck is ducking out. Thank you, Gorino. Let's hear some more, man. I'd love to hear some more. Next up, this will be the last one we listen to. Kava X Dog, End of the World. Let's run it. What you got for me, dog? Dude, dog, man. We're gonna have to catch up, man. We're gonna have to catch up. I gotta see how your people doing.
You swear with running away. Why don't you say that you a liar and just leave him this way? You spin me over the world. Why don't you leave me alone? You spin me over the world.
liked the second drop. I like the second drop better just because I think the pattern was a little bit more constrained. And it was something that I could pick up on. And I felt like in the first half of the track, my dogs are hungry. As you can see, they keep hovering around me. In the first track, in the first part of the song, it's like you have this immaculate future bass like chord. You've got this future bass chord sound, and you can play whatever note on the keyboard and it's going to sound good. It's because it's a real professional sound. It's like it's on point, it's to the standard, it's lush, it's beautiful. Doesn't matter what you play. And you guys just played every fucking thing you could. And it just goes crazy. And then the tempo is slower, so you're really hearing all the different notes and shit. So it's like I couldn't latch on to anything in particular. And what I was hoping for was something where it was like play into the repetitiveness of house, use that vocal chop that you had, and then put just a better syncopation and a better pattern from the future bass chords that played better with the vocal chop that you did, because I'm really feeling the vocal chop in the first half, but I'm not feeling everything else that's going on with this chord, because it's just not anchored for me. then the vocal gets in the way, and I don't know what she's saying. It gets real blurred right here for me. I'm like, okay, what's going on? Clear, like I'm trying to transition moment. The vocal just kind of comes in. Listen how the vocal just kind of comes in at this part, and it like it's over everything, and everything gets real blurred. Listen. I like the the vocal chop here is great, but the chord just is not working together with that. They're fighting each other. The chord and the vocal chops are fucking fighting each other, and it's like because you've got the ingredients. It keeps going. Like honestly, the drop could have ended here, but then we're going again. Because we're not adding anything, right? Nothing new is happening. It's just a different pattern that you're throwing at the wall. Does that make sense? And you've got a different sort of, the vocal chop is now doing this thing, so now you've got a different vocal chop. It's not even really a chop, it's more like a drone. And honestly, like if that vocal chop, then why don't you? Like really, that would go well with a more subdued bass line. You know, not like it's more like a deep house thing, almost that I'm hearing with it. But the future bass chord just didn't, for me, work well enough in tandem with the vocal chops. It was just way too busy, and it just didn't get anchored for me. So, but you have all the right sounds, right? And when I'm like, okay, you could have just ended the drop here. Nothing new is happening. Like, we can use my track Out of Control as an example. Whether you like it or not, it's a good example here of switching it up. If we go to it here, you'll notice after the main drop, I go into a more bass line, a different bass line, right? So after the drop, it goes into what I call a bridge energy section. Right here. It's different.
What I gotta do now? We gotta control.
No breakdown, straight to the
We out of
verse.
control, ain't got no reason to hold back.
So that's what I mean. Like here, like it changed and went into a different aspect and started building into something else. As a nice, that's a transition section, but you wouldn't think so, right? But here, no real change. It's the same exact thing. Like even on the first half of Out of Control, you go focus on the bass line. It did the first half, the first 8 bars focuses on the bass line.
Keep going faster.
Then we do the same thing again, but you can tolerate it because there's a vocal over it. And the vocals become precedent. They're over everything, and you can hear it very clearly, right? But then after that, I'm not going to do it again. You've already heard it twice now. Now we go into a different thing, and we flip it with a bass line. And you dance. Now you dancing.
What I gotta do now?
So it's all about kind of thinking about all the different parts of your track and all the different ingredients that you have and seeing how you can use them, right? So in this one, I think like went on for so long, you were searching for what was the right way to do it, and in my opinion, you didn't ultimately land on it. So yeah, it might be something to look at because I see the track is still private. So we got to figure out a way to get that vocal chop to really work in tandem with the chords, the future bass thing. So interesting, man. But it's a very pretty track. So, and like, there's no real like mixed down thing that I would say about it. I think the drums are fine. Like, there's snippets of things that you can really get the right bass line going here. You were just trying too many different things. But that's my subjectivity. That's my 2 cents on it. But yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Golly, how we feeling, man? I'm really glad I got to hear everybody's songs. There's still more. We'll have to follow this up, but I'm kind of worn out now. Um, man, and it's crazy seeing so many like familiar faces in here that have been around for a long time, continuing to tune in and represent and be here when things go down. So I appreciate you all, man. I appreciate you all. And like I said, with the people like that sent in more like focused things as far as like what the topic at hand was or whatever. We're gonna get things right. We're gonna grow, and we're gonna foster the community and cultivate the people of the community, producers and fans alike. All right, there's a plan. It's just gonna take time. It's just gonna take time. And right now, we're still kind of figuring out who the players are in the game. So we got to figure out who the players are, and then we got to take these players and we guys you gotta you know how in Grand Theft Auto you always start off in your shitty house and like it's not even a house, it's just some dump, some like laundry room corner, and then you start moving up to your different hideouts and it gets better and better. We're at part one. We're in our laundry room dump right now. But we're gonna band together. We're gonna get this right, and we're gonna get the scene into a place where it's a recognizable thing. And nobody's saying we have to be great, but we have to be united. You know what I mean? That's where it starts. All right. So yeah, but if you sent in music, thank you so much because I know how it is. You send in your art to be critiqued or heard by the greater world. And there was only about 20, 30 of us in here throughout the whole thing, but more people are going to see it. It's going to be up for the public internet indefinitely as long as Skynet exists. So um, let's see how this whole thing everybody evolves, and let's stick together. And I'll be in touch. I'm probably gonna make a different channel like on Instagram that's like for like submissions or whatever. I don't know exactly how it's gonna go. But for this first one, I definitely wanted to give really in depth, like be a little bit more in depth um, feedback. So, but usually like this level of like the feedback you would get like over on Patreon is even more in depth, and it's written too. So it's not something that you have to keep coming back to and listening to with something like this. But here I definitely wanted to kind of do that. So if you are a patron, you're like, damn, he's just listening to everybody's songs live. It's a process, all right. Sometimes you got to give back to the community. So that's what this is all about. But if you like this kind of feedback, you can get that over on Patreon, and it's super cheap. So, anyway, I'm gonna go feed these dogs. You guys want to see how cool my dogs are? Check this out. The moment I move, they move. We'll have a little fun here. And you notice whenever I say off, train your dogs, train your animals, y'all. Not a thing. You didn't see them on my couch. They're nothing. They know their place. Anyway, yeah. Yami, come here. Say. Come here. Say bye to the camera. You gotta look at the camera. You can't be shy. You know? Yeah, this is Yami. Oh yeah. Yami, he'll be 3 in October. Yeah, he's a big boy now. He weighs maybe 54 pounds. And then the other one, he's way bigger. He's like 70, 75 pounds. Hey. This guy, my cream colored poodle. He's a big boy. He's not a tall boy, but he's not a fat boy either. As you can see, he is built right. Like, come here, Hikari. Get up here. Look how strong he's strong built. And he's only one. He's only one. See, he can sniff my face all he wants, but you notice he's not licking my face. He knows better than to do that. Good job. Off. Anyway, those are my dogs. Hope you guys enjoyed them. The cream colored one, his name is Hikari, and Yami's name, that's Yami, and it's Japanese for light and dark. So Hikari is light and Yami is dark. So yeah, you guys got a little bit of lore. Thank you guys for joining, man. I'm out of here. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day, rest of your night, and I'll see you guys in the Heart City chat over on Instagram, and we'll keep talking. But